Greetings from the Buckeye State. In this episode, we are going to Put-in-Bay on South Bass Island, and we'll have a rare opportunity to visit The Ohio State University's Stone Lab and Cook Castle on Gibraltar Island, and enjoy some of the other attractions Put-in-Bay has to offer. Also, Lakeside Chautauqua, the Marblehead Lighthouse, and the original Margaritaville before driving down to Columbus for the Ohio 2019 Meetup. All that and more coming up next. I'm riding in my RV, wherever I want to be, 'cause I'm free in my RV. We are going east on Ohio State Route 2, the site of the billowing steam coming off Davis-Besse nuclear power plant, ever present. We're gonna be staying at East Harbor State Park, nestled between Catawba Island and the Marblehead Peninsula, and then we're going to Put-in-Bay on South Bass Island. This is the Lake Erie Shores and Islands Visitor Center, and I think that's Barb. Our friends Barb and Jim, they are hosting me this weekend here in Ohio for an action-packed fun time. Our sites are only electric, so after a quick visit to the dump station and the potable water filling station, here we are. Nice pull-through sites here. Eventually, Jim arrived, and then we also had a visit by the Hanf brothers, longtime viewers and friends, and they brought some local beers, and we talked, catching up, as the day turned into night. At which point, designated driver Jim drove me around the area. We saw some wildlife and the lights of Cedar Point across Sandusky Bay. Today we're gonna take the Miller Ferry to South Bass Island. Here comes our ride, so let's get in line. I think we should go to the top, get a better view, and it looks like everybody got the same idea. Family owned and operated, the Miller Boat Line here has been sailing to Put-in-Bay since 1905, at the time, the heart of the Lake Erie Wine Islands. Nowadays, it seems to be more of a party destination, and I've been looking forward to coming here for a long time, ever since I saw a sign that said Key West North. Pretty fun ride here on the ferry with all these waves. We can already see the Paris Victory and International Peace Memorial. The 352-foot tall column was dedicated to those who fought in the Battle of Lake Erie. More about that later. And we've made it to the island. Let me tell you, this ferry holds a lot more people than it looks. The best mode of transportation here on the island is a golf cart, and we're getting one. Here we are on the golf cart. Courtesy of Ease Golf Carts, by the way. And now we're gonna drive around the island, and maybe Jim will let me drive the golf cart. Let's check out the lighthouse first. This is the South Bass Island Lighthouse, and we're gonna check it out. I think they're doing like a free tour, so that's even better. By the way, we happen to be here during historical weekend, which is a very fortunate coincidence, because a lot of these locations, they have student volunteers from The Ohio State University as tour guides. Let's climb on the spiral staircase all the way to the top. Yeah, this last stretch is a little steeper, huh? Hi, hello. The lighthouse here, it was brought into service in 1897 and deactivated in 1962, and it is believed to be the only lighthouse in the United States that is owned by a university, in this case, The Ohio State. Let's go back down.
Ohio State, yeah.
Green Island, and it's green, as you can see. I'm about to drive a golf cart for the first time, so I feel sorry for all these people in front of me.
Bye-bye. I love you, Barb.
This is a lot of fun, let me tell you. And renting one of these for the whole day starts at around $60, which seems to be the way to go, let me tell you. It is a pretty big island.
Now we'll make a left.
On up ahead.
Oh, we even have a heart.
No, people are dying to get in there.
I see a bar.
What do we have here? I smell food. Joe's Bar. You found it.
By the way, if you noticed, it is only Jim and I today on the island. Unfortunately, Barb couldn't make it due to a family commitment. And Ely is back in Miami, but we'll be back one of these days, the four of us. We're arriving at South Bass Island State Park. And the small island you see, it's Green Island actually. Currently a wildlife refuge not open to the public. Green Island. There's the nuclear power plant over the horizon. By the way, good camera work by Jim. I think he has a bright future as a vlogger.
Don't leave me, Robert. I'm coming. Onward, driver.
We're going to ask for permission so we can see the campground, and while Jim goes inside to find out, I'm gonna check out the beach real quick. And let me tell you something. This is such a nice state park. And this is called Stone Cove Beach. Not a sandy beach, more like pebbles, but beautiful nonetheless. Beautiful cove. Did I mention how much fun it is driving one of this? It is almost like a very slow go-kart. Oh, we're definitely bringing the trailer in the ferry next time. And I'm sure you have to make reservations way in advance. This was once the site of one of the largest hotels in America, the Hotel Victory, but it was destroyed by fire in 1919. Here we can still see the ruins of the swimming pool. Here we go again, Victory Hotel swimming pool ruins.
Well, there's Jim, my tour guide, and these are the Victory Hotel swimming pool ruins that I showed you from the higher ground up there. Studying the map.
Yep.
Not the first left, the second left.
Yeah, we gotta get. Well, first we're way back in here in the campground. So we'll be back, Joe.
Our next stop is Parker Park and Benson Ford Ship Home, named after Henry Ford's grandson, with walnut-paneled staterooms, dining room, galley, and the passenger lounge designed by Henry Ford himself. They were brought here in a barge and became this unique home.
Yeah, and here we have some love locks. Some people are smart and make it a combination lock just in case, you know.
It's Middle Bass, and then I'm drawing a blank on the island north, and then beyond that, Canada. The far out island that you can barely see is Canada.
Here we have another view at the Benson Ford Ship Home.
Looks like they're new, so they had a stuff their neighbor was.
I'm putting my life in Jim's hands now, so we'll see. You see, he drives like a maniac, even worse than me.
I'm kidding, of course. You know, Jim, he's a professional driver actually, and the pilot, boat captain. Now let's go to Put-in Bay proper, which is the main downtown area towards the center of the island. There's this smaller island here in the middle of the bay called Gibraltar, and it is owned by the Ohio State University, and normally you can't visit, but since it is historical weekend, they are offering tours, so now if we could just find out where the boat sails from.
Labor Day weekend, all the buoys, or a boat, this is boat after boat after boat tied up against each other's boats. There's an airline, I have one just like that, it's not restored.
Yeah, apparently last weekend there was an event here which coincided with Labor Day weekend called Bash on the Bay, and there was a Kid Rock concert and everybody says it was wild. Much quieter here on historical weekend. Winery. I may not have the time today, but one of these days we'll be back for a tasting. This used to be called the Wine Islands after all, right? It is such a pretty castle-like building too. This here is called the Riviera Park. Very nice. Actually, this was the site of the first ship-to-coast radio broadcast back in 1907, providing the results of a boat race, and sports broadcasting was born.
Northernmost, Key West north, Put-in Bay, Ohio. Canadian border 5 miles, Key West 1205 miles south.
Jem was telling me these Lyman boats made in Ohio since 1875, and apparently there's a whole industry dedicated to restoring them. We stopped here real quick. Jim spoke to the dockmaster, and now we know where we have to go to take the boat to Gibraltar Island. Oh, cool! Marching band. Yeah, what can I say? I like marching bands.
I'll be honest with you guys, we're kind of lost. We're looking for the dock because today they have a special boat that goes to this island called Gibraltar, and they have like a science lab there with a bunch of exotic animals and a castle, and we wanna see that. So hopefully we'll find it. But the whole lab on the island, it belongs to the Ohio State University.
Yeah, it turns out we have to go back to the Aquatic Visitor Center, and funny thing, we were just there by the historic fish hatchery.
The Stone Lab.
There's a nice view of the Paris Victory Monument. And the island, which I hear was named Gibraltar because it kind of resembles the Gibraltar Rock in Europe. And it is beautiful, but I don't see the similarity. This is gonna take a long time, because the small boat only takes a few passengers at a time. We'll wait patiently. This is, by the way, the Aquatic Visitors Center.
Right. I don't think we're gonna win this one, but maybe the next one.
I think the next time.
And here we go. It is finally our turn. Let me get on this spot here to get a nice view. The island just north of us is Middle Bass, and they have a winery too. The boat ride is actually very scenic because they go all the way around the island, and you can see all the Dolomite rock formations and Lake Erie, choppier than I would have expected. That's Lon's Winery on Middle Bass Island. That boat's rocking. Must be high tide. And here we are. This is the Stone Lab, but I think we're going to see Cook Castle first. There's a guided tour starting as soon as we arrive at the island.
Stone bought the island from a fellow called J. Cook.
The guide tells us a little bit about the history of the island and these rock formations here, which are called Dolomites. Very nice views they have. Anyway, Dolomites or Dolostone is very similar to limestone.
And the granite from Canada, brought by the glacier.
J. Cook here used to own the island, and back in the 1860s he built this castle as his summer residence. He was a financier who helped in the Union's war effort during the Civil War. In 1925, his daughter sold it to Julius Stone, who eventually gave it to the Ohio State University, hence the name of the research and teaching lab here on the island. The castle is still under renovation, so there is no furniture and some parts are still under reconstruction, but still very cool to see. Something tells me this part is not open to the public, but they didn't have any no trespassing signs or anything like that. Yep, got kicked out of there. Well, hopefully they will finish renovating it soon and make it into a museum or something. That would be cool. This monument here marks the cornerstone of a proposed monument commemorating Perry's victory at the decisive Battle of Lake Erie. And now we're gonna see what is known as Perry's Lookout Point. They have a gentleman here dressed as Commodore Perry, relating the account of the famous battle in which he and his men defeated a fleet of British sailing vessels during the War of 1812. Let's start heading back. And there goes the boat that brought us here. And wouldn't it be nice to sail these waters and visit all these islands? I'm gonna have to convince Jim to fix up his lineman.
Well, this was really cool and a somewhat unique opportunity here we had, because this island is generally not open to the public. This is belongs to the university, and
let's go to Stone Lab. And by the way, such beautiful views from the island. Okay, I'll follow Jim.
Here, we are right here. Yep. There's Putney, Rattlesnake Island. His island over here.
Here they have a bunch of microscopes, so let's have a look. Oh wow, look at that. That's really cool. It is seemingly phytoplankton. They have some fish in this murky water. Bass, perhaps? Yeah, definitely bass. And here's a dissected one with all the organs exposed. Very educational. Ooh, snakes.
we got all these cages with snakes and reptilians. It's really cool. Let's step outside. And here we have a sundial. As you can see, pretty accurately depicts 3:30. That is the time.
It is such a beautiful afternoon here in Lake Erie. And I don't know about Jim, but I'm famished. Hopefully the trip back won't take too long. Oh, we've got turtles. Now it doesn't want to move. It knows I'm filming it. Fascinating creatures. Alright, let's head back to the mainland, or the main island rather. Very cool for the Ohio State University to have its own island with its own lab, even its own castle. Very, very cool. there goes the other boat.
All right, back in Little B2.
Let's go get something to eat. It is bar after bar after bar. They even have the world's longest bar. We're gonna end up at this place I have seen online that claims Put-in-Bay as Key West North, and it is aptly named the Keys. It definitely has a Florida Keys motif, and it happens to be the island's northernmost bar. In any case, it is a good marketing scheme. We're gonna get a table with a view of Perry's monument.
That looks good, man. Well, let's partake. Oh, we just missed the cannon.
Well, that was pretty good. Nude Beach in Ohio.
All right, let's head that way.
He's from Miami.
Oh, there you go. That looks very familiar.
Mine's old and ugly.
Do not fit the roosters. Okay, yeah, it kind of feels like you are in Key West. Let me take a picture with this one.
Let's see if we can make it all the way to the top. Perhaps not today.
Well, apparently we won't be going to the top today. They have a 40-minute wait, and they would have cut off the line in about 20 minutes. It's 5:20 already, believe it or not. I mean, time flies when you are traveling, and today is no exception.
Ooh, I like that little Mack truck. Let's explore a little more of the island. Nice house under construction here. And back in downtown we are. We're gonna check out here real quick the world's longest bar.
It's the world's longest bar.
Wow, there's hardly anybody here at the world's longest bar. Well, it may not be very busy, but they do have a live rock and roll band. And you know, I'm always gonna like a place with live music. They sound really good. Too bad there are not too many people here to hear it. This is how they claim to be the longest bar, because it snakes and meanders all around. Pretty cool. I like it. I'm thinking, maybe it is a late night kind of place, huh? Alright, let's check out Mojito Bay. Much livelier.
Bartenders here at Mojito Bay, and enjoy your Saturday.
Famous last words. Sorry, inside joke. Park Hotel here, a very historic building. It is the oldest operating wood frame hotel in Ohio and the oldest business on the island, dating back to 1873, continuously operating since then. They've never even closed for renovations or during Prohibition, so what we see is probably exactly as it was. Some of the old furniture is even cordoned off like a museum, but other than that, it is like a living time capsule. Pretty cool to see it.
Hey, how you doing? Pretty good. Yourself? I can give me something to drink.
Let's check out the Roundhouse Bar.
Roundhouse Bar. Let's check it out.
Well, yeah, it is round. Besides all the history, of course, this island is definitely living up to its reputation as a party town. Pretty cool, and it looks like the band is setting up. I really think we are here too early for the party. Next time we definitely have to overnight on the island. Moving right along. Here's another nice eating and drinking establishment called the Boathouse, also with live music. Let me tell you, I really like this town. Before we go, I think we should explore the other end of the island to the northeast. This is called Sheaf East Point. The nearby islands are Ballast and Middle Bass. The one far away is Pele Island, belonging to the great land of Canada. We're gonna stop here real quick for one final view at Paris Victory and International Peace Memorial. It is time to go, but not before having one final IPA at Put-in-Bay Brewery and Distillery. Now for real, time's up. Ooh, that's a lot of people coming. That tower, by the way, is what replaced the South Bass Lighthouse. We have arrived. There's Barb waiting for us. Yeah, I'm tired.
This is the last thing we're going to do tonight before going back to the campground. We're going to the original Margaritaville in Sandusky, Ohio. How about that? And that's Margarita right there.
Yes, this one actually claims to predate Jimmy Buffett's.
What
Well,
a coincidence!
You started walking out and I thought you were going there like this.
We are joined by Todd and Tiffany. You met him last night.
This is the last stop of the night.
It was very entertaining conversation among Buckeyes and Wolverines.
I'm pretty sure we're closing down the place here, but the wings were really good, let me tell you.
It is too dark out here. We'll be back tomorrow. Good morning. Let's go for a drive.
Right over the tip there is the ramp where our campground is.
That's a nice view of the memorial. Lakeside here is a private town, or Chautauqua, founded in 1873 by members of the Methodist Church, and one of the few independent Chautauquas left, about a square mile in size, nowadays listed in the National Register of Historic Places. Hotel Lakeside here, built in 1874. Very interesting community, let me tell you. Here's the historical marker with more information. After much driving around, Jim finally found the exit. Or was it Barb? I don't recall. And now we're going to Marblehead. I believe there is a famous lighthouse. There's Lake Erie, and it's like an ocean with all the white caps. And there we have it, Marblehead Lighthouse, which seems to be undergoing renovations. Here we have another historical marker, and another one here. Did you know it is the oldest lighthouse in continuous operation in the United States side of the Great Lakes, and it has guided sailors safely along the rocky shores of Marblehead Peninsula since 1821. And it still does. Yeah, kind of hard to believe this is a lake and not the ocean. There's Cedar Point across the entrance to Sandusky Bay, self-proclaimed the roller coaster capital of the world, and the destination of our very first ever RV trip some years back. It would have been really cool to go all the way to the top, but that only means we're gonna have to come back one of these days. Moving right along. We're back at the state park, and this is called the North Swimming Beach. And normally this would be like a beach, with sand. But the water is so high on Lake Erie that there is no beach.
Oh my. Normally the beach goes out about third to halfway. You can kind of see the shallowness. But then you would It's about 6 feet to the rocks. I dumped Gabby off a tube once out here, and then Barb jumped in. We couldn't get her back on the boat, and so they bring here and they walk all the way back to the campground.
The lake is over 2 feet higher than normal, so that's why we have no beach, or almost no beach.
Well, this was fun and action-packed, but we must go. There goes Jim. Yep, he tows with a semi. That's how he rolls. We're going down towards Columbus, and we're gonna stay just north of Ohio's capital at Alum Creek Campground. And we're gonna make a couple of stops along the way. Our first stop is gonna be Margaritaville in Sandusky. Jim wants me to see it during the day, in all its glory.
Here's Minitini with the original Margaritaville.
Yes, looks much better in the daytime, and it is supposed to have this waterfall. Yeah, let's step inside, shall we? This is nice to have lunch like al fresco. Too bad we're not hungry yet.
Well, that is really cool. It definitely looks much better during the day. And last night I didn't film much because really I was tired. But yeah, this is really cool. It kind of reminds me a little bit of a place like Matlacha maybe, or something like that. It's really cool. All right, let's continue.
Yes, for real. We have a lot of people waiting for us in Columbus. We're taking Ohio State Route 4, the same road we took back in 2011 on our return trip from Cedar Point, on our first RV trip ever, so this brings very fond memories. There's a large rail yard here, and Jim wants to stop really quick so I can see it, since I was at the one in Nebraska a couple of weeks back.
Yeah, apparently this is the largest rail yard east of the Mississippi. I think that's more research, so I'll go into this once again, but yeah, it's pretty neat to see it.
Well, it is the Bellevue Rail Yard, and I did some research and couldn't find anything conclusive, but it is pretty massive nonetheless. It actually kind of reminds me a little bit of the one in Nebraska, but in a somewhat smaller scale. The first time I saw this countryside, I thought it was beautiful, and I still think it is. And the fact that State Route 4 is not an interstate is great. You can see all the small towns along the way. It makes it for a slower pace, much more rewarding drive. There's a train crossing, so we decide to get out and chat a bit. Okay, let's go. And our luck, there's another train. Big coal train. The coal industry must be booming around here.
That's a lot of coal.
I always found it interesting, the abundance of houses of worship in this area, all with a cemetery on the side. I mean, the number of churches per capita must be pretty high. As we go under the Lincoln Highway, US 30, we arrive at the next town, Bucyrus. Bratwurst's capital of America, also known as the small city in the middle of everywhere. A city of a little over 12,000 inhabitants. It has 3 murals by famed muralist Eric Growe. And we're gonna stop really quick to see them. Oh, there's Barb. And I guess she wants me to park here because here's one of those murals. And we can see the courthouse on the left. This one is called Liberty Remembers. And it is kind of hard to see, but in the background, there are portraits of 284 Crawford County veterans that span from the Revolutionary War all the way to the Persian Gulf War. Here's another mural. This one is called The Great American's Crossroad, depicting downtown in the middle of the 19th century. Let me tell you, Bucyrus here seems like a cool town, and by now I know it sounds like a cliche, but it is one of those places that I intend to return to one of these days. Whether we're coming or going to Vacationland or driving the Lincoln Highway, it is one of those crossroad towns which are hard to miss.
I am really intrigued by all of this, agricultural equipment, I would love to do a series like if I could tour some of these farms and facilities. That's something that I might look into in the future. Let me know if that's something you would be interested in seeing. Not like a whole series, but like one or two videos or part of one or two videos as we are driving here through the breadbasket of America.
Well, to make a long, rainy story short, about an hour later, here we are, Alum Creek State Park. And we're running kind of late, so we're just gonna drop the trailers and head to Columbus. These actually very nice sites here, very close to the water. I'll show you later. To Columbus we go. Our first stop is North High Brewing Company because that's where we're having the meetup. And Gavin, the owner, is gonna give us a tour of the facilities.
This is over here. Some storage. This is our cold storage over here, which is finished goods. That's where we put all of our kegs after they've been filled before they go to our distributor. And then this is where, as they say, the magic happens. So here we mill the grains over here. That's the line of the grains for tomorrow's brew. There's about 1,000 pounds of grains in there. We turn on a motor at the end of this pipe. There's an auger in here, which is just a corkscrew that moves the grains along. Filled the mash tun over there with hot water and the grains. It's the consistency of like a thick oatmeal. And hot water, give it some time. The starches that are in the grains are being extracted out and chemically converted into fermentable sugars. So that process takes about an hour, and then we transfer the liquid over into the next tank. And this is where Liz will be interested to hear what we do. We take the grains out of the mash tun and we put them in these plastic bins outside here. And farmers come by and they pick them up and take them to feed to their cattle. Also on hot days, the grains sit outside and they might ferment a little bit, so the cows could get a little buzz. Since they're beef cattle, they could use a little break in their day, right? They know what's coming. When we transfer into this tank here, this is where we bring it to a boil. We bring the liquid up to a boil, which sterilizes the liquid, and this is also the stage where we're adding hops. We do brew with Ohio hops whenever possible. The relationship that we have with our farmer was what actually got us introduced to the Farm Bureau. Contracted with local farmers, local malt houses, local hop growers to use all Ohio ingredients, and that's the cover crop beer. Then if you want to follow me here this way, what we do is we run the liquid through this thing right here. This is called a counterflow cold plate heat exchanger. It brings cold water from that tank through half of these plates, and then the 212-degree wort runs through the other half of the plates. And by running next to each other, that cold water cools down the wort. We're running through beer hoses here and filling up the fermenters. And you'll see as we walk through here, numbers 1 through 11, we have 11 fermenters. These ones hold 1,200 gallons. One batch of beer that we brew is 600 gallons, so to fill these, we brew twice. The ones on the end, the 5 at the end there, are 1,800 gallon tanks. So those are triple brew tanks. And then the small guy over here, number 6, that's our smallest batch we can make right now. Our pilot size is 40 kegs of beer. And that's, like I said, when Marion comes online, we're going to be able to make some smaller batches as well. Once it's in the fermenter, we add yeast and a lot of it. It takes a lot of yeast to ferment beer. For every milliliter of beer that we're fermenting, we need about 10 million yeast cells to get fermentation going. So they're very tiny, and there's a lot of them. You know, they're very hungry, and they're going to consume those sugars, and they're going to give off the elementary school way of saying it is that they eat the sugar and they pee alcohol and fart carbon dioxide. So, okay, so if you guys want to follow me, these are the actual, you can actually see the yeast farts happening right now. This is as the yeast is metabolizing the sugar and releasing carbon dioxide. These standpipes allow the CO2 to vent out, and then sanitized water prevents air and bacteria from getting in, because that would spoil the batch. So this acts as a one-way valve, a one-way gas valve. We call it an airlock. So we'll spend about 2 weeks. The beer will spend about 2 weeks in here fermenting. Ale's fermented about 65, 70 degrees. So you'll see each one of these has a thermostat on it. We set a temperature. This one's at 65, so we know it's an ale. You can see it's actively fermenting here. We keep a log on each of the brews. After about 2 weeks, our beer's done. It's ready to be carbonated. So we cool the tank down really cold, like 30 degrees, and the yeast falls down to the bottom in a hibernated state. We pull that yeast out. We can reuse it for multiple batches, and then we transfer the beer into the bright tanks. These bright tanks are the carbonation tanks. So we fill these with the beer. We force inject carbon dioxide in there under pressure at cold temperatures. In about 6 hours, we can fully carbonate 80 kegs of beer in this tank, 120 kegs of beer in that tank. And then we're ready to package it. Packaging that we use the kegs, obviously. Half barrel kegs are 15.5 gallons, which is about 120 pints of beer. And then the skinny ones over there, those are called 6 barrels. Those are 5.2 gallons, about 40 pints of beer. If your viewers would like to see this online, they can just go to YouTube and look up North High Can Line, and they'll actually see a 3-minute video of this thing in operation. I'll go ahead and pull it up here on the screen for you.
One of these days, we gotta come back and see that canning machine in action.
The reason that we use cans and not bottles is that cans are better packaged for beer. They keep the beer fresher longer, they keep light out, they keep air out. They're also way better for the environment.
Gavin,
yes.
Thank you so much for hosting us.
What a pleasure having you here.
And we'll be visiting the next time.
Yeah, you got it. We look forward to seeing you over at the tap room.
Yeah, the tap room. That's where we're going now. Located in the Short North Arts District. North High Street here, under construction. And there it is, the tap room.
This is part of the Short North Mural project, which is a series that's giving homage to the Harlem Renaissance. So you see like a dozen of these murals throughout the Short North. And then this is in the midst of the reason I was asking about dust suppression. As you can see, we got a little bit of dust out here.
Just a tad. Well, it's under construction, guys. You know.
That's right.
But when they finish this street, this is going to be great. Let me tell you. All right.
That would be great. They'll just have it covered back over with gravel the next day anyway. All right. Guys, you come in here and turn left.
All right.
There's no one here yet. But I was wrong. Everybody seems to be here already, actually.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming.
Welcome to North High. Thank you, Robert, for picking us to stop by. Has anybody been here before? This building was a Ford dealership in 1917, and everything you see in here, we restored the building with all old pre-prohibition items, like these windows up top from 1906 from an old Ohio State building called Brown Hall. The wooden slats up in the window up there are actually from those are the original bleachers from the Horseshoe from 1922. 1916 windows on the vestry, so thank you guys so much. Thanks, Robert.
No, thank you. All right.
I didn't get much chance to shoot video at the meetup, but luckily Gabby, Barb and Jim's daughter was our official photographer, and you can check out her growing portfolio at Shaw's Photography on Facebook. We had such a great turnout, about 40 fellow Pelican heads sharing stories from the road and fabulous IPAs, and I always have a special place in my heart for Ohio and Ohioans because it was one of the first states we visited with an RV back in 2011, and I thought to myself at the time, such nice people. Corey and Christy, the traveling Buckeyes, I liked her t-shirt so much with the trailers forming the American flag that they sent me one. Now one of my favorites. Journey, Gabby's daughter, was the youngest. Liz Malik, at 90, was the oldest. It was such a great time. We even had a raffle. Pizza was provided by Donato's, and that was also great. This couple came all the way from Stillwater, Minnesota in their leisure travel van, and I want to thank Gavin and North High for hosting us and everybody who came and was part of such an unforgettable evening. Getting to meet those of you who watch and hearing your stories is the most rewarding part of what I do. So, thank you. Till we meet again. In these situations, it is always good to have a designated driver, and I have Jim, so we can explore Columbus at night a little bit. My RV. Here's the Ohio State House. We're not gonna be able to visit this time around, but we will. One of these days, they do offer tours. Alum Creek State Park. We barely got a chance to see it. But Jim, he's gonna give me a quick tour here in the morning before I leave towards Hershey, Pennsylvania. It is called Alum Creek Lake, and as much as I would love to linger and hang out with Jim and Barb all day, the show must go on. Thank you, friends. Till we meet again in Florida.
Good morning, almost good afternoon, really. We had a little bit of a late start here today, but yeah, we're gonna be driving all day to Hershey, Pennsylvania for the RV show. I'm gonna have lunch here. I'm gonna try to go to one of the local chains. It's called Raising Cane's, and it's supposed to be really good chicken. So that's what I want to do.
Driving to the east and going home. I have been away for too long.
Nice Lincoln Continental.
Driving to the east and going home. I have been away for too long.
Well, not quite going home yet, but we are now definitely on the home stretch. Let's try the local fast food, in this case, Raising Cane's. Perhaps not my brightest moment with the trailer in tow. Ironically, this chain was recommended by the waitress at Xander's Fried Chicken in Frankenmuth, Michigan. And yeah, I'm having a little bit of a hard time finding where to park, but I'll figure it out eventually. This place, by the way, they specialize in chicken fingers, and the box combo here looks pretty good. I'll tell you what, here Raising Cane's,
lives up to the hype for sure. Very tender, very tasty chicken fingers, and yeah, might even have been worth my parking ordeal there, in which I almost damaged my sewer outlet, but I didn't. Right, let's put gas and continue towards, well, eventually, Hershey, Pennsylvania.
The landscape is gradually changing, not so flat anymore.
Driving to the east, going home. I have been away for too long. Driving to the east, going home. I have been away for too long. When I cross the Mississippi, I'm more than halfway home. I'm getting tired, I'm getting sleepy. I've been away for too long.
Pittsburgh, we were so close. But like so many other places along my route, you also had to fall off the original plan. On the next episode, we commence the voyage home. Until then, thank you so much for watching, and see you on the road.